Are you ready?
Power.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
I'm building an alliance.
God bless the internet.
Okay, let's party. It's showtime.
It's time for the Alliance Guys podcast, with your hosts Kevin Frazier, Jaden, DKM, and J. Cal.
Well, out of that list of storied announcers that was just read out to you, only His Majesty DKM is here amongst them. I am the usurper from the other Alliance Guys, filling in for J. Cal, who is having a good time somewhere tonight.
I'll be honest. He got suspended for biting Kenny Omega.
Well, you know, these EVPs are out here thinking they can manage things when they can't manage a target, DK.
Well, anyway, I don't know why he thought he needed. I guess he was jealous of Steel or something like that. He decided that he needed to bite Kenny Omega too. So Tony Khan suspended him, which I thought was really weird since Tony Khan's not in charge, but he did it anyway.
Well, you know, Jaden, I'm sure Jaden's here. How you must be following, because there's nobody who isn't following this whole CM Punk, the Elite issue that's going on in AEW, suspensions all around. What's your take, my friend?
Well, I've been actually away from everything. I was out camping. Did anything happen in wrestling while I was gone? No, just kidding.
No. Not in wrestling. In sports entertainment, some stuff happened.
Yeah, I kind of heard about that. I was going to actually come on the show and change my title to Jaden EVP. But
yeah, well,
but I don't want DK throwing a chair at me.
And I would.
Yeah, I believe that.
I just got a new one today too. I'll probably throw it.
Is it squeaking?
No. It's one of those you got to put it together type things.
Oh, that's why you're going to throw it away, because you had to put it together.
I didn't even get it from IKEA. That's the sad thing. But everything's gone great except for the arms. I cannot get the arms to line up right to save my wife. And so, you know, I might have to let like a young person do it.
You could wing it at Matt Jackson and see how it turns out when it's over.
Give him 2 black eyes.
I am sitting in for Jay tonight as the junior associate on this show, the Lex Luger to the original 4 Horsemen of this particular broadcast.
That's because I suspended him for inappropriate action.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, he likes avocado, so.
Oh, that too.
Jay's injured for the next 8 months now, conveniently.
Could be.
What's that?
Could be.
Out in the chat right now is my brother from the other Alliance Guys podcast, Wrestling with the MMA, Jeremy. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to the Alliance blog. Who's this guy? Oh, I don't know this guy. He must be new. And Gus Tula. Look, I'm not always here. I'm the fill-in substitute teacher. So welcome. I don't know the name, but welcome. So here we are, guys. Another week of the NWA. It's a whole new season. We're looking way off now to Hard Times 3, Hard Times in New Orleans. Not technically New Orleans, by the way. Somewhere just next door. I forget the name of the town, but close enough.
Suburbs.
Yeah. Either one of you guys going to head down there for that show or over there?
No.
Did you say no, DK?
No, I plan to.
Oh, you do.
Jaden's not going to go because,
I like good wrestling.
See,
If I'm going to go to New Orleans, I'm going to go see some my
Your goddaughter.
my goddaughter. Yes.
Yeah.
I go through all the different possible relations.
Did
you watch Power or USA this past week?
Oh no. I did some fun things instead.
Really? He would do something fun, so I watch those shows.
It was not a bad week for the NWA this past week. There was some excitement. So what do you guys normally do first here? You go right into Power, or do you recap USA? Do you watch DK's dog through the window?
Yeah, I watch DK's dog through the window. That's actually so far the most exciting thing going on right now. Usually we talk about what the news going on in the NWA, but I don't think anybody even cares about what's going on in the NWA right now. So much going out there. But and then we talk about something, and then I try to delay the talking about Power and USA for as long as possible until Jay forces us to do it.
Yeah. I go ahead, DK.
I was going to say, I'll say this. This week's shows were not bad.
Yeah.
I'd figure out whether they were good or not, but they weren't bad.
We're in that spot right after NWA pay-per-views where they're somewhere in the middle, maybe high middle in terms of quality, match quality, and it tends to ramp up right about like in the weeks just after this, and then obviously it begins to slide down again. But anyway, I tend to have a much more positive outlook than the guys on this podcast, darkening the NWA's door, if you will.
Yeah, he's like Iron Sheik. He's very positive.
Yeah.
You know what Sheiky would say about that?
Positive, good. How can positive be bad?
Yeah, it's just the cocaine. What's a little positive cocaine?
Yeah, we have Samar's All Retro Studio, a NWA fan. Hey, yourself, welcome. Willie Bowen's in the house. I await tonight's mandatory Tyrus joke, hoping it's a good one. Welcome, Willie. If you're in the chat, you want to speak up, we tend to go to it a lot. Thanks to everyone for being here. Yeah, there isn't a lot in NWA news that I can think of. This, AEW is really taken over the headlines this past week. It's bad when like MJF's return is like an afterthought. But yeah, there isn't a ton going on. I know Billy Corgan's been on a couple of podcasts again talking about the company, but there's no new information there to report from previous weeks. There a dog event coming up soon, Jaden?
Oh, actually, there is on Friday evening, September 30th. There'll be a free event in conjunction with the Pause for the Cause event. And they will have the World Wrestling Grand Prix Heavyweight Championship on the line, as Chris Steeler will be defending. There'll be the Dog Tag Team Championship on the line, And the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators Championship will be on the line as Glassboro's own Busky Eric Martin defends against Pittman's own Daredevil Dave Dahl. There's a little bit of a rivalry. It's not quite as exciting as the Elite and the Buck Camp rivalry, but there's a little bit of a rivalry between Glassboro and Pittman, intertown scuffle, if you will. And this gets to be a Glassboro versus Pittman matchup for free for fans of Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators. Also, current sister promotion to the dog promotion, a fellow member of the World Wrestling Grand Prix, Frontier Wrestling Destiny, is going to have their debut event coming up on Saturday night, October 3rd. And that's going to be in Gloucester City, New Jersey. That's going to be really awesome because the World Wrestling Grand Prix Championship will be on the line, assuming Chris Steeler gets through that defense. And there will be a lot of great matches, including wrestlers like Old School Empire member Vinny the Fixer, Old School Empire member Pat Shamrock, and an extremely very large Irish population town. I think a guy named Pat Shamrock is going to be very popular there, and a lot of other great things. And then beyond that, there's going to be a World Wrestling Grand Prix Championship match, a Dog Championship match, and a Dog Tag Team Championship match on Saturday night, October 22nd at the Max Fit Sports Center, located at 240 Delsey Drive South in beautiful uptown, less than a black guy and a little bit more rustic Glassboro, New Jersey. And again, if Eric Martin is champion, then he will defend that championship against Nikos Rikos. This is the first time this is being announced. There'll be a match between Ty Thomas and Alpha Dog Adam Chandler. If Ty Thomas wins, Alpha Dog retires. If Alpha Dog wins, Ty Thomas leaves Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators. And again, assuming both the Dog Tag Team champions, the Old School Empire, and the WWGP champion, Chris Steeler, retain their championships, those championships will be on the line also.
Well, it's a lot to take in. If you're relatively new to the program, how many years you guys been doing this particular?
Well, I guess it's going on 13 glorious years. Yeah. This coming April will be 13 glorious years, April 24th. So a little over 12.
So if anyone in the chat's wondering, what's up with Dog, give them the background, the connection to the NWA, and if you don't mind, just to kind of educate some of the new guys.
Initially, we were an affiliate promotion to NWA New Jersey, run by Fred Rubenstein, and then later a member of the National Wrestling Alliance. There's been many Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators wrestlers competing for NWA Gold, including the NWA North American Heavyweight Championship, a couple of times the NWA World's Junior Heavyweight Championship. The NWA National title was changed. That championship changed hands in a promotion that was co-promoted by Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators. And let's not forget, the NWA World Heavyweight Championship was decided in Clayton, New Jersey in a 9-way elimination match that was very controversial. And that saw Cahagas become the disputed first, sometimes second, depending on how you want to go, at Triple Crown champion.
Yeah, that was in my memory. He was unbilled, was he not?
Yeah, he wasn't supposed to be on that event. He showed up and was added after pretty much the match was over, and they added him to the match. That was a decision by then NWA president Bruce Tharp, because apparently, pot's legal in Colorado. I think at the time he was in Texas, but that was a decision last minute made to add the national champion to the match. So after going through 8 other competitors, Damian Wayne had to take on a fresh Cahagas, and Cahagas left that championship with that championship that night.
Yeah. Damian Wayne, who I think everybody agrees should have been NWA World Heavyweight Champion.
Well, he was defending it everywhere and defending the NWA Dog Championship everywhere.
Yeah,
and held the national title, held the North American title, held about 74 regional tag team titles and almost was a world tag team champion if somebody else didn't cause problems.
Yeah. Lou Thez is here. He says Wayne was robbed.
It's true.
Well, here's Willie's first joke of the night. Tyrus might as well be a walking billboard for the NWA announcing upcoming pay-per-view events.
He's wide enough.
Yep, he is. Well, he dropped some weight for 74, though.
Well, he didn't drop 10 pounds of silver. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's true. Dave Scooby is here. Dave asks what the number one challenger for Camille already decided due to the four-way. Will we see the champ wrestle before Hard Times 3? So there's two matches for Hard Times 3, which is November 12th and 13th. It's another two-nighter, I guess. And that's going to be Camille against Taya Valkyrie. We'll talk about that, in a bit. And Trevor Murdoch will be defending against Matt Cardona. But no other matches for that yet. So, DK, what do you think? Trevor going to wrestle a couple times before defend the title a couple times before Hard Times 3?
Trevor? Yeah, probably not unless they recorded something that I'm unaware of.
Yeah.
Camille possibly, as she makes indie dates, but of course the NWA doesn't talk about their title defenses outside of their little world.
Yeah, kind of like our new buddy Scion.
You beat me to it. Scion's had, I think last time I checked, 4 title defenses since he became national champion. Maybe 3.
I know 3 for sure.
Yeah.
And someone pointed out, and I have not gone back and done the math, so I will not say you would. I will not say if this is 100% accurate or not. But the claim was that with 3 title defenses, he's like in second place for most title defenses under the Billy Corgan era, or at least tied in second place. There may have been somebody else that did it.
Speaking of rotisserie chicken, I would bite into that harder than Ace Steel bit into Kenny Omega.
I don't blame you on that one. And anyway, so Willie Mack, who was their first champion, had 5 title defenses, I guess. So,
speaking of Willie Mack, he's going to be wrestling in MLW soon.
Yes, he is.
I think that's a good pickup, I believe, for MLW.
Yeah, I agree. Missed in the NWA and a popular guy in the company too. Scion's named the belt in a Sweet Charlotte kind of way. He's named the national title Olivia. I don't think it's going to stick. What do you guys think?
well, I didn't want Sweet Charlotte to stick, and idiots still use that.
You know who probably wouldn't use Sweet Charlotte? I bet you Bram wouldn't use it. What's his name?
Tom
Tom
Latimer.
Latimer.
Well, the main person who uses it still is Joe Galley, because, of course, his background would include back when Adam Pearce used it. So my comment was Sweet Charlotte got left in a steel cage back in Australia, and 10 pounds of gold resurfaced. So I don't know. I tell you, I don't know. I don't know why they do these things. I wonder if Kenny tastes like General Soils. Maybe.
I was thinking he tastes more like Fruity Pebbles.
Oh.
Okay, I'm not touching that one with a 10-foot pole, but.
Or maybe with a cupcake with some sprinkles.
You know what I think? I think for this title thing, before we get way too off the rails here. Although,
what am I doing on the show if you don't want to get off the rails? That's my only contribution to this.
Yeah. Someone ought to take like the TV title and name it like a really awful name. Like, this is Eustace.
I got it with name of Tyrus.
Oh. Hey, Jaden does the jokes around here, buddy.
Hey, we're gonna name a Tyrus. It'll have to be as big as the old NWA Women's Championship.
Yeah, I have that somewhere, but I don't want to go pick it up. I'll probably injure myself.
Jeremy says just leave the sprinkles out of it, Jaden. And Dave says NWA is doing a lot of title defenses out of their programming. Push anytime a champion defends, they are repping the NWA, even if it's not on NWA programming. I agree. What's the issue?
Billy Corgan can't control it. That's what it is.
Do you think it's honestly 100% just a control issue? Like, that's not my company. I'll let my champ go there, but I'm not talking about it.
Yeah, I think he only wants to push what his narrative is. It's like he's trying to control the narrative.
Huh. No, I mean, I'm not sure Jaden's wrong there. Billy lives in his world, and he's kind of WWE'd some things. I mean, he's brought in wrestlers that use different names out on the indie side, out in the, indies. And, he brought them in with some weird gimmicky thing. I mean, CJ is not CJ anywhere else.
Right.
She wears flamboyant things as Christy James when she comes in. And she does a little dance, but she's not CJ anywhere else. Certainly not here in Texas. And, Magic Mike Dumas.
Dumbass.
Yeah.
Magic Jake. Magic Jake.
Magic Jake. But he's not Magic Jake anywhere else.
No.
And so Billy seems to think he's Vince McMahon, and that, if he's going to bring someone in that may not be as well known, that he wants to give him some stupid gimmick. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Well, Dixie Corrigan really needs to honestly get a little better into creative. And then again, he does want to control the narrative. I approve. He tries to convince everybody Smashing Pumpkins is a good band.
But just to get back to the original point, yeah, I mean, I don't think their social media, I don't know who their social media person is, but like on Twitter, they'll share anything and everything, and they'll talk about all the stuff that they're doing or whatever. And of course, the champions will talk about it. But occasionally on TV, there will be a small reference, not a specific reference, but they might say Dixie. They might say something like, they defended the title X number of times. Well, in order for it to be X number, you have to go count the ones on the indie shows. But they don't talk specifically about it.
Right.
At least they don't Bill Goldberg it.
Yeah, Bill Goldberg, the only person that could go from Monday to a Thursday and increase his undefeated streak by 11.
Dave says Sion's having a beef with Robert Anthony on Twitter. That's funny.
Damn it, now I want beef.
Lou's here. I got to mention this about Lou. Lou doesn't like the national title. It's the most polarizing title that currently exists, for sure. It grew on me. Like
a fungus?
No.
Like ringworm.
Yeah, like ring. No, it grew on me after time. And Lou, I haven't sent you an email. Just it's been ordered now, so it'll be shipped to your door. The belt that I shipped to Lou, for everybody who doesn't know already, UPS lost it and I've been keeping Lou in the loop with the emails, the back and forth. They can't find it, so we had to order him another one. It's on the way, buddy. Jaden, have you not killed that fire alarm in your house? Isn't that where that's from? That sound?
Yeah, it's still going. No, it's out of the reach. I would have to get like 4 ladders to just be able to make a scaffold. And I used to be a manager, and managers and scaffolds don't really go well together. I already have bad knees, so I decided, I'm just going to let it chirp.
Chirp.
It seems like it's been going on a long time.
Yeah, about 3.5 years now.
Oh my God.
Hey, I've let mine go for months. I don't know about 3.5 years, but because you gotta go look for his battery in your battery drawer, and you never find the one that you're actually looking for. So then you have to get batteries the next time you're at the store. But the next time you're at the store, you forget that you need the batteries, and then finally one day you go and you get the battery, and you go, I hate these little 12-volt batteries and everything. And it's like, okay, I got to get a chair or a ladder so I can reach it. And then you stop doing that because you have to do like a podcast or watch TV or go to bed or something. And so, as long as it's not the one right in your room when you're trying to sleep, let the damn thing chirp.
Yeah, all it does is make the one cat jump every single time it chirps, and I kind of find that funny. So I just kind of leave it alone. Honestly, I barely even noticed it until you said something. I didn't even notice it was happening. I'm so used to it now.
Yeah, I drown mine out after a while.
It's kind of like listening to DK talk. You drown them out after a while.
What?
I said it's kind of like listening to DK talk. You drown them out after a while.
I see Jaden's thing going. Is he actually saying anything? Anyway.
It's like the Blues Brothers living beside the subway, right? Go by so often you don't even notice it anymore. It's a dated reference.
Yes.
That's say, how you think our average cry?
Very old. Let's talk about. Let's go back to NWA USA and do some recaps there.
Oh, man.
Well, have to, but it seems to set up Power, right? One way or
I
another.
suppose.
Doesn't Power happen first?
USA happened before Power. So you got 4 guys, and maybe you know some of these names because we got some new faces this week on NWA USA as it went along. It's cold opens with Joe Ocasio, who we have not seen in the NWA before, not familiar to me, versus Gustavo versus PJ Hawks versus Colby Carino. And this was a match that saw Colby Carino as the only one actually announced, and he came out with America's Jawline, that dude, Jamie Stanley, as his manager. And I don't know. The NWA has been starting with these 4-way matches for a while, as if it's a blast of excitement that we're all going to love at the start of the show. This one ends with Colby Carino hitting the sunsetter after Jamie Stanley clocks Joe Ocasio, who, making his debut, and we know what all that means in the NWA, and getting the 3 count. Did you watch this one, DK?
I did watch it. Didn't suck. Wasn't good. As you noted, they kind of gave away the winner by the fact that the other 3 guys were in the ring. So the only one that got an entrance was Colby, and then he comes out with the manager. So that basically said, hey, look, we're trying to make
that's kind of the NWA version of the red shirt.
Yeah, I don't know what the heck. And so, in isolation for a 4-way match, which we certainly don't need, it was, it was okay. I'm not gonna tell you, that it was great, but yeah.
I have seen Joe Ocasio some footage of him. He's actually pretty good on the indies, so that's probably a decent pickup. They probably, of course, Billy Corgan wouldn't know what to do with him, but he's a pretty good pickup. I think he's a talented wrestler with a look and some size, and can move and do some stuff. I know PJ Hawks, and he's a talented guy, and Colby. I like Colby, but everybody else seems to hate him.
I like Colby.
Do you? Okay.
He grew up like this.
Well, but I like him way more than his father, a billion times more than his father.
Hey, slow down there, Cheetah.
Well, you've never actually met his father, or you would probably agree with me.
Bought coffee from him once. But I take it you had a personal experience that has turned you off of the elder.
Yeah, I like Colby better.
Yeah.
I like anybody else named Carino probably better, but
Allison Danger.
yeah, I like her better. She was pretty cool too.
There you go. Jeremy says he liked the Casio. His stuff looked really good and proper. Yeah, he had a solid debut. I think the guy who probably enjoyed the match the most was Gustavo, who for once in his NWA career doesn't have to get pinned in the match.
Yeah, see, that's how they move them up. First you lose in the 4 ways,
Right.
or 3 ways. Then you're not the person who loses in the 4 ways or the 3 ways, and then you go to Power where you lose. So that's how they build up their talent.
That's called long-term storytelling, I think.
It's a good comment because right after this, we go to the announce team and Gally tells us like what we're looking at on USA is a national title tournament qualifier. There's no brackets. We don't know who's in it. There's a bunch of qualifying matches that are coming up on USA, and we're going to be looking at that later on.
Real quick, to go back into that, the one thing modern wrestling does not have enough of is tournaments.
I'm wondering if there is a dripping piece of sarcasm coming out of your voice right now.
Yeah, it's kind of like I ate Taco Bell from that dripping.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
We will see Dak Draper later in the evening it's a bit of a spoiler, so that's kind of fun. But I like the look when we went to the set is improved. I like the look of the ring. It's got a black and gold trim around the ring now. There's a video screen behind Kyle Davis rather than that cardboardy set that he's had in the past. There's purple jackets for the announce team. It's the color of royalty, DK.
It is.
What do you think of the new set?
I like it. I understand what they were doing with the blue and everything. That's an homage to the old NWA studio shows and everything. But if you weren't familiar with those days, it did have a tendency to look cheap.
Right.
And so I think getting the new stuff and everything, I'm not 100% sure how I feel about the giant screen video thing. I mean, I like it when they're zoomed up on the people talking, but it's a little bit weird when they have to zoom, out wider and you see it's, like a 85-inch TV or whatever.
Right. It does look weirder than.
And it's kind of like, okay, that's weird to do it like that.
Since I follow a second fixer, the secondary fixer in professional wrestling world, Wrecking Ball Legursky, I have seen that video, and it looks like something I did in the 1990s in my TV tech class. Maybe a little higher budget, but yeah, it's I don't know. It doesn't look good production wise, and that's somebody with a television background. I don't like it. I've seen better production values on people's TikTok videos and YouTube podcasts.
Yeah, I mean, again, if they're actually in on it, it's not so bad. But when they're out, especially since it's not framed in any way, it's not framed, it's not boxed, it's just a giant video screen that makes you kind of go, okay, I don't know. But the ring looks better. I'll give them credit on the ring. Why are you mute?
Sorry. The air conditioning kicked on and it's louder in here now.
What? I can't hear you. I think some kind of air conditioner kicked on.
It is an upgrade, the video screen, and we get Kyle Davis with the Fixers. They come out with American flags and, American headbands and sprinklers that they're going to light indoors, and red, white, and blue rocket pops.
Did you say sprinklers?
Yeah, sorry.
Sparklers, maybe?
Sparklers, excuse me.
I think I would have liked the sprinkler better. I think that's kind of cool.
Would be something much, much different. They come out and they've got a Fixers rule taped over one of the U.S. tag team titles. The other one is conspicuous with its absence. It's not there.
I figured they did it so that the World Tag Team belt wouldn't look so weird.
Yeah, I mean,
they're just going to have one belt for tag team titles now.
That's right. Yeah, I don't know. I honestly, we've talked about these belts in the last couple of weeks, and maybe something's up. Maybe it's fallen apart already. I don't know. But they basically say they've had a change of heart now that they're America's tag team, and the Mortons, Ricky and Kerry are okay by them. They're hand in hand with the NWA. You can't have one without the other. And call out Ricky and Kerry to shake their hands, who don't come. And Wrecking Ball says like trying to give them a rocket pop and asks if they're lactose intolerant. Maybe that's why they're not here. I don't think there's any milk in rocket pops, but anyway, yeah. It was loud, it was painful, it was mildly amusing. It was the Fixers, but I kind of wonder if you're watching the Fixers, which have had they've been very popular since they came in. Now they're certainly gone babyface. If there's too much of a good thing with them up front, I once called, in a very strange comparison, Wrecking Ball Legursky the Alec Baldwin of the NWA, and that he's great as a secondary character behind the scenes, but you make him the main character in something, nobody really wants to watch that vehicle. Are the Fixers painful, or are they still complete gold?
It should have been shorter. I think, and also Bradley's becoming more like Wrecking Ball.
Dumber.
What?
Dumber. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and his kind of, he was the one that was kind of always a little bit smarter, and sometimes didn't always even get what Wrecking Ball was doing. But now he's almost like on the same page. And it's just like, And I think shorter. It should have been shorter.
I think, and I called it out on Twitter, I think they should now be managed by Sergeant Slaughter. I think that would be great. Having Slaughter in their corner, make them part of Slaughter's Marauders. They can go to chin with anybody. And it'll be a lot more entertaining, I think. I mean, the Fixers are all right. They kind of remind me like if they watch too much Eastbound and Down. But they're okay. I've seen some of the stuff. They're trying to do their version of the New Day, in my opinion, but I don't hate them yet.
Okay, well that's good. I just kind of see it down the road. Like, I think DK's right. If they keep it shorter and there's less of it, it'll last longer. But I can kind of see the end of it already.
It was kind of the problem they had with Aldis, in that he was there so much and talked so much. All his promos were long.
Yep.
And he was there every week. That it kind of made you go, oh no, Tim left. And no, it kind of made you go, okay, I'm sort of sick of your face now.
Yeah.
And yeah, they risk that with the fixers. They risk getting to the point of you're going, okay, I'm kind of sick of you now. So
that's kind of their NWA's modus operandi. When somebody finally gets over it, they overexpose them.
Yeah. They're not the only ones that do that, but certainly didn't need that long of a segment. Do they have anything else? I'm out of sleep since then. But do they rule? Sure.
It's James H. Jackson. It's like, okay, another Fixers special episode with them hosting. Yeah, I'm not honestly a big fan of the here's someone hosting an episode. We all saw how Velvet After Dark turned out. Yeah, less is more, James says, and I agree. But I'll tell you, it wasn't the worst segment for me. That came up next on the show. It had Mae Valentine with Ricky Steamboat and Austin Idol, and Ricky looks amazing. You know, he really does. And Mae is standing with him and Austin, and saying that, Ricky, how do you feel about the resurgence of the NWA? Ricky says, their main event on the scene now. They're totally mainstream and they're right back where they need to be. And, already I'm choking a little bit at this one, but his roots started here. Austin breaks in to say the only reason that it's come back so well is because of him, but hey, that's Austin Idol's job for you. He also says that the format that Ricky Steamboat is apparently responsible for this tournament for the national title #1 contender sucks, according to Austin. And says just a little moment where Ricky says, look, we have this tournament to showcase talent. If Scion's as good as you say he is, then he'll defeat whoever that tournament winner is. But it's going fine until they switch to the women, talking about the women wrestlers. And Mae asks Ricky, there's a 4-way match coming up at Power. Ricky says the women in this company are great and they are phenomenal. And their stuff is so good, you can't see any gaps in it. You can't see through it at all. And I just immediately kind of wondered, how did this not get reshot? We talked about it on the other podcast this week, but Ricky's never really been a promo. But even as he says it, I kind of get the impression from the look on his face, like, should I have seen that? Should I have said that? But just to kind of, we all know that there's an athletic performance happening here, but to bring it up and say it in such a fashion really took me out of what we were supposed to be engaged with.
It's called suspension of disbelief.
Right.
How can you disbelieve it if they're constantly telling you it's fake?
Right.
And, I thought Ricky Steamboat, of all people, should have known better and not have said that. He was a lot better putting over the NAWA in the 90s than he is apparently the NWA now. But Ricky Steamboat may be a legend, and unfortunately, while his talent's amazing, his people think of his NWA reign and with rose-colored glasses. They really should have reshot that. This is television 101. And
it immediately made me think too. Remember when Cornette was a few years ago on the show, and he made that joke about Murdoch is so tough he could, ride across Ethiopia with I think it was a bucket of chicken or something. And it was
fried chicken. That's the part that got him in trouble.
Right. But
the chicken was fried.
Right. But his
argument, there's no other chicken to put in a bucket, seriously, though.
It doesn't matter.
His argument was nobody told me that it was something I shouldn't have said. It went through editing. The whole thing was produced. It was put out there. And then when you tell me that it's gone and I'm out of here. And like, I bring that up because whatever you think of that particular moment a few years ago, there were a lot of people between Ricky's bad comment and it airing on NWA USA. Like, why didn't this? Yeah, Ricky made the mistake, but how did it get through editing? How did it get through all the other layers of product? Well, I don't know how many layers there are, but through however many layers there are in production. How does that happen?
Because they do it all too fast. And honestly, they're not really paying attention. And I think that's why we do get these things of who's watching these things and saying that's good. I mean, is it just a cameraman there? Is there not a producer there? What's the deal? What, or is whoever producing these things stupid? I mean, I don't know. It's just, it almost seems so obvious when you're watching the shows that, man, somebody should have said no, stop, don't. Okay, let's redo that. It's not the best way to phrase things. Come on.
Don't mention the Challenger kid.
Exactly. For those people that don't know what Jaden's talking about, it's an old Jim Cornette story talking about when he set Ronnie Garvin on fire.
He went up like the Challenger.
Yeah, his face lit up like the Challenger or whatever, and something like that. And he goes, all of a sudden, you hear everything stop. All the cameras are, just like everything turns off. And someone comes up and goes, Jim, Dusty wants to see you in the back. And so he goes walking to the back or whatever. And Dusty comes out of the room or the truck or whatever he's in for the production thing. He goes, don't mention the challenge, kid. It's like, okay. So they went back out and they refilmed it. Remember, that's in front of a studio.
Right.
So, I mean, the people who were there saw that he had to redo that. And it's just like, it's one thing if you don't want to reshoot some of the things there in front of the audience, although you certainly should if it's bad enough. There is no excuse why the behind the scenes stuff. Somebody of importance should be watching these things and saying, like when Adam Pearce told a babyface that you don't sound like a babyface, you sound like a whiny little bitch. Or, Bill Watts, one of the first times Jim Cornette ever did a promo where he was making fun of Jim Ross. And this is where I stole the line from. He got, Bill Watts goes, that's great. That's just great. That was a drizzling shits because you're promoting a match I'm never going to book. My manager and my announcer are never going to wrestle each other. Yep. So do it again. Do what I told you to do the first time so we can move on. And he did, by the time he did exactly. And, of course, what had happened, Cornette had come from Memphis, and Jerry Lawler was always making, or other wrestlers were always making fun of Lance Russell, so that's just where he went from. But that wasn't Bill Watts' style.
Yep. James H. Jackson, excuse me. There's another one he caught. Part 1 thing where May called the upcoming pay-per-view New Orleans NWA 74. That wasn't reshot. Dave makes a really good point here. Billy Trask is directing, and Billy Trask is a good director. He should have a clue, Dave says, about how things are done. He trained under Dave Marquez. I just think people are afraid to question how WPC does things. So
Badly. They don't have to question. They do it badly.
Well, if he's writing out these things, then I would say, okay, don't question it. But if they're just back there doing promos, yeah, somebody should say, stop. Nope.
Yeah.
Do it again.
And I don't get the impression May's in front of a studio audience.
No, I don't think so. Not with this back thing. I mean, Billy didn't tell her to say NWA 74 in New Orleans, so whoever was there should have said immediately, stop. In post-editing, they should have at least made it sound like there was a technical difficulty and blotted it out,
Yeah.
Oh, lost sound. There it goes.
Well, let's move on because we get Luke Hawx versus Magic Jake Dumas with CJ. This is a national title qualifier. It's the first of the night. There's a funny bit in the beginning where I guess Jake has said, like, who wants to see a magic trick? And Luke says to the crowd, I'll show you a magic trick. I'll make my boot disappear up in his ass. But and ends up starting the match by kicking him in the rear a few times as they get going. This one, for me, had a surprise ending, but maybe I shouldn't have been too surprised. Jake catches Luke in an up and over, puts him in tombstone piledriver position, drops him down, and pins him for the 3 count to get into the national title tournament. It was surprising for me to see Luke Hawx lose to Magic Jake. But, hey, surprises are maybe what keeps us coming back. What did you think, DK?
I enjoyed the match for what it was. I, too, was a little bit surprised by who won. But I didn't necessarily think it was a bad choice. I was just surprised. And, okay, let's give Dumas a chance. Again, don't know exactly how this is working because, the NWA loves to start things and never finish explaining the rules to us entirely till the end. So
I'm not a fan of Magic Jake Dumas. I think any wrestler that takes a promo pic with a cigarette in his mouth should fall asleep on the couch and burn to death. But that's just me.
You've been watching those Johnny Cash movies again.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's stupid too. I get the prop for the look, but it's dumb.
Yeah. You're supposed to be an athlete, and we don't. I know a lot of wrestlers and a lot of other athletes smoke various things, but you don't usually see it. It was stupid when the Sandman did it. It's stupid when Major, whatever his name is, Magic Jake Dumbass does it.
Remember the Giant used to do it in WCW?
Yeah, and it looked really stupid because there was this little teeny tiny cigarette and this giant mongoloid with these bear paws with a cigarette in it. It's stupid.
Yeah. Hey, Rick Del Santo's here. Yeah, it's been an okay day, Rick. I hope you're well.
Today was the first day of school. I don't want to exactly call it a great day. I already got a paper due on Monday.
Oh, stop whining.
First class. I want to whine. I don't want to go to school. Can somebody write me a note? Anybody know Epstein's mother? Since we're going to data references.
You're the one that's choosing to go to school.
Well, Rick Flair told me it's time to go to school, and I listened to him.
I'll teach you.
Yeah.
I've warned you about doing stuff like that.
All right, what's next?
Lou says Harley Race never did it, which would be smoking in the ring, and he had a permanent nicotine tan.
Very true.
There you go. What's next? May Valentine with Colby Carino and Jamie Stanley in the back. They love on each other. They're winners, so they're together. They're going to open CampCarino.com, which both Jeremy from the other Alliance guys and I checked online and was available, I believe. But what are you going to do there? Like, it's all about branding. Jamie's going to rebrand Colby Carino as a winner as they go after the World Junior Championship. They're going to have music. You're going to have a list of tanning beds in your local area, and you're going to be able to poke people. And it's $60 a month. And that was what it was. You guys want to talk about it, or just move on?
Move on.
Okay. So we see they call him the living tall tale. He is more traditionally the Mile High Magnum. Dak Draper is in the NWA and versus Jack Stane with Chris Silvio. So it's also a national title tournament qualifier. This guy in his first time has an opportunity to get himself into the national title tournament if he somehow is going to beat Jack Stane. But it's his debut, and we all know what that means. However, in this one, Draper, who's he's done a few years on the Indies. He was an ROH guy. I'm guessing like around 6'5". I think they say 6'3" on the show, but he's bigger than that. He's maybe 250. He looks great. He gets some serious offense in on Dane. He avoids having the trunk popped on him early. He looks great in the ring, and so much so that when Dane does pop the trunk in sort of a strange moment, he ends up hitting him with a back elbow, and Dane snaps and just unloads on him in the corner, stomps on him, chokes on him. And then when Jared Fritz tries to pull him off, Dane shoves Jared, and Dane loses by DQ. And Dak Draper is in the national title tournament by disqualification. Chris Silvio, all the refs are out trying to, encourage Jack Stane to let go of Dak. Chris Silvio gets in the ring and tries to pull Dane away, and he turns on Silvio like he's gonna, smash him into bits. And we kind of go off the air as Dane stalks off. Surprising finish to this one for me. DK?
That's an interesting one. When just looking at the match towards the end, it was surprising, but I thought it was a good little hoss fight. I didn't get the clothesline that they were calling a pop the trunk, which by the way, is a stupid name for a finisher.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even make sense. But they were calling it pop the trunk, but it wasn't his normal pop the trunk thing. It was more just of a clothesline. And so I was a little confused by that. Were they just calling it wrong? Did they not do it right? Whatever. I'm assuming they didn't do it right because of the way, or I'm assuming they were calling it wrong because, he didn't just get the pin.
Yeah.
And, my last thought on it was, if the idea is to get a new challenger for Scion, okay, I guess this is one way to get Jax out of the tournament without making him look bad by getting beat. But man, I can't say I was happy with it.
Well, not only is he everybody knows DK is a big fan of the Vanilla Godzilla, but Dak Draper also has or was or is in a relationship with Quinn McKay, somebody DK has a deep interest in. Yeah, see? And
I love Lou. I regret nothing if he sees this. Yeah, that's maybe what he's most known for overall.
Yeah, and she works for the WWE right now.
Yeah,
but
some of us wish that's what we were known for.
yeah, and then DK has a deep interest into Quinn McGay. He wants to one day grow up to be her glasses or her bow tie.
Or bow tie.
What's she doing in WWE?
I believe she's with the NXT brand, working as a like a backstage person or something.
Yeah, kind of similar. Hello. Not so much like a nerd character, but kind of a similar role to what she had in ROH.
Yeah. He had a great showing, though. Your camera's really going AWOL, DK.
I don't know. I'm hoping it'll readjust here in a minute. So
yeah, he had a great showing, especially for a debut. And even though, he gets the bejesus beat out of him here, he's got to be the first wrestler in a long, long time in the NWA. He doesn't lose in his debut. Just back to before, James H. Jackson Jr., a lot of it stems, I think we're talking about what we were just a moment ago, the rushing through stuff. There you go, DK. Got to tape 2 months plus worth of stuff in 3 days, so just get it done no matter what, type stuff. Yeah. I mean, we've all heard those stories from Cornette about, he's up at 3, 4 in the morning and he's cutting tape for Smoky Mountain, and I don't remember there being a lot of complaints back in those days. So it's about, attention, I think. Anyway, that was NWA USA this week. So let's take a look at POWERRR. Did you guys watch POWERRR?
I did. Here's a funny story to an extent, but for the first time in I don't remember how long, I watched both episodes as they debuted instead of going back and watching them later.
It's like ripping a Band-Aid off. That's why.
Probably.
I
do think there have been times in the past, to agree with Jaden, that I've almost dreaded the idea of having to watch the shows.
Yeah, I don't, because I can't stand the same commercials over and over, Like Nick Aldis's voice for over 70 years, the symbol of excellence. Okay, I've seen this commercial for Fandu belts, 60 times by now. Or legacy supplements or whatever else. I generally watch them later on.
That doesn't sound like any fun.
You get to fast forward them that way. Season 10, episode 2, you cold open with another 4-way. Genocide versus Chelsea Green versus Kylan King versus Taya Valkyrie in a 4-way match where the winner will get a shot at the Burke. I believe, at Hard Times 3, right? So, Jenna and Kylan are in immediate control with power moves, but they're soon sent to the outside by Taya and Green. Taya's in control over Green pretty early. There's 2 women rest on the outside. Someone always has to rest on the outside for half of these matches. I don't know why we keep having to have them if we're basically going to see one-on-one anyway. Anyway, high spots for this included, for me, Chelsea taking King and Taya down simultaneously, trying to pin one after the other and not getting it done. I thought Kylan's missile drop kick was pretty good. I did not believe Genocide in this match. She seemed to phone it in for me. But in the end, Taya pins Chelsea Green with the Road to Valhalla. The whole match lasted about 4.5 minutes. And Taya Valkyrie's back for a shot at the Burke again at Hard Times 3. What do you think, Jaden? You interested in seeing Camille versus Taya Valkyrie once again?
I heard every time they wrestle, whether for the NWA or other promotions, it's always been a good match. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, DK said it was the best match of the at least of night one, maybe of both nights.
Camille had the best match both nights. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I'm kind of hoping Tara Valkyrie is the champion. I have nothing against Camille, but there's not really a plethora of women wrestlers in the NWA that can be considered a serious challenger to Camille. At least maybe if Tara wins it, there could be new matchups and unique matchups and stuff like that. I also don't think Camille's long for the NWA, and I think the only reason she's still here is because it's the only place that probably would use Tom Latimer on a regular basis with some kind of national exposure.
Right.
But I think I kind of want to see Tara win the championship just because it's something new, and because she deserves it, and because she's talented, and to kind of shove it up the WWE's butt for letting her go.
You don't think, even with, what allegedly has happened way back in the past, that Tom Latimer would be a good candidate for AEW?
Well, honestly, what would they do? Put him on Dark or Power, or not Power, Dark or Evolution or Evolution or whatever the garbage shows that nobody cares about or nobody watches. They have so much people there now that they're not using right. So,
yeah.
Why would he even bother? Hell, he probably would push Tara Valkyrie for like a month, and then you'll never see her again. So,
I smell a new champ for Hard Times 3. What did you think of the match, and what do are you looking forward to that rematch, DK?
Yes, because I enjoyed the first match so much that I'd like to see a second one. Yeah. Yes, because I think there's a good possibility that the title could change hands. And of course, I'd always love to, be present for a title change hands. The match itself, again, 4-way. My thoughts on multi-person matches.
Yeah.
It was, again, okay for what it was. I didn't. The end kind of blew me because I felt it was sudden out of nowhere and fast. And so it's one of those things like, okay, I was enjoying this match as much as I'm going to be capable of enjoying a 4-way, and you just ended it.
Yeah.
Flatten Green and hiss at the other two girls as they try to jump in and stop the count, but they're too late. I don't think Genocide looked good. I don't know if she was phoning it in, so to speak, or if just the match itself wasn't something, or if she was just having an off day. It wasn't overly impressive, her thing, but I was still kind of expecting her to be the winner because she's the one that hasn't really faced Camille recently. She did back when Camille first won the title, or before Camille first won the title. I forget exactly when it was, but
yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I guess you could say they swerved me, but I am looking forward to the rematch.
Yeah, it was a good match. It's just kind of to extend your point here. It's a 4.5-minute match that sets up a pay-per-view showdown 2 months from now, and you think it could have been built up, even just over a show or two, if you just wanted to do it quick, and you could make it something like, oh, I want to tune in and see this thing. It's going to be, there's something on the line here that they've built towards. But it just, like you said, it ended so quick. It's the road to Valhalla. And like, oh, we couldn't get in the ring to stop it. They're even looking at each other, and just strange stop, like you said.
I mean, literally like 3 inches. And so it was weird.
Yeah.
I don't know if Camille versus Jordan Grace will be a great match, because Jordan Grace is like is actually almost as short as her husband, and she's like 5'1". She may be as wide as Camille, but I definitely don't think that height difference would make a great match.
Yeah, she's billed at like 5'2", and I've seen her in person, and I mean, I was in total shock over how short she was. And
really, not 5'2", like below 5'2".
If you would have asked me, I would have told you she was 5 foot.
Right. Built like a fire hydrant, as my dad used to say.
Yeah, I mean, you know, she has the, you know, but very, very short. I mean, a funny story off that one, but that was a match between her and Miranda Gordy, and it ended up being a double count out because they fought outside the ring and into the crowd. It was kind of COVID time, so we were all dispersed in a mask. But I was there watching it with my son, and you know, they're fighting around. People are moving and getting out of the way and stuff like that, and I'm just sitting there. And told my son, I go, I don't think they're stupid enough to run into me. And she got her rather ample gluteus maximus about 1 inch from me. But
Surprised the gravity didn't pull off, like you're not circulating it right now to this day.
well, I had to hold my son in place so that he didn't, you know.
He was trying to jump into the gravity.
Well, he's small, you know. I'm 220 pounds and he's like 120 pounds. So he would have got sucked into the gravitational pull, but I held him down, stuff like that. But yeah, they never actually got me, so came close to me, but
yeah, let's go on to the next thing.
All right, yeah, 74 women's title matches set for Taya Valkyrie to face Camille. So Kyle Davis is out after.
Okay.
Huh?
May Valentine.
No. It's Kyle Davis.
No, he was talking about how you said about the 74th May Valentine.
Oh, did I just do that too?
Yes.
Oh my God.
We need our editor. I mean, we're a professional podcast
let's
here.
Go back. Let's everyone forget that.
Okay.
We're gonna stop and re-edit. The World Women's Title match is set for Hard Times 3 in November with Taya Valkyrie and Camille. Kyle Davis is out with Billy Corgan after a new video package entrance that has some new faces. He said, this is what he says. They said that I bought 3 worthless letters 5 years ago, and they aren't saying that now.
Yeah, they're saying you're making it worse.
We'll be at the Chase for NWA 75. We'll have a 100th anniversary. He talks about how Tyrus and Murdoch, tore down the house. But Camille had both of the best matches of the 2 nights. He drops Empower as a brand name and mentions how Mickie James is involved in this, and that we have to stay tuned, keep watching, because something around Empower is coming. And they said that we weren't going to do it again, and just keep watching. So Empower is coming back. It's been over a year. I don't know. Jaden, did you watch Empower a year and a bit ago?
Yeah, actually, I cared about the NWA then, and that was way better than the 73rd, I guess it was the 73rd anniversary pay-per-view. I very much enjoyed Empower. There was a few things here and there that could have been better, But unfortunately, Tony Khan didn't get his ego stroked, so we probably won't see any AEW guys. But with what's out there now in the independent wrestling scene and Impact and MLW and NWA, I think we could see a really, really good women's pay-per-view on Empower, and it'll probably be better than anything the NWA is doing in the men's, because that's the only thing they could somewhat do right is the women's division. Even if we don't need 74 women's titles like we have for men titles.
Well, there'll be another women's title soon. I don't know if you've heard about that or not.
Yes, I did. Because, it's the one thing the NWA doesn't have enough is championships.
Yeah, rivaling AEW. What'd you think, DK?
Well, for the first time, we agreed on something, because I had said before he came out here and said this, because I said it the nights of the pay-per-view that Camille had the best two matches, or the best two matches had Camille in them, or whatever. Yeah, I really didn't get. I mean, it makes it sound like they're doing another Empower, and he put Mickie James over pretty strong. So I don't know if he and Aldis have kissed and made up, or what the deal is. Oh, by the way, I do want to bring out one thing, and this is why, what you do is important. But okay, Taya Valkyrie is the number one contender for Hard Times, but we know between now and Hard Times 3 that Billy can drop her on a whim. Just because he wants to.
Right.
Or she gets signed somewhere better.
So who knows if it's really going to be those two at Hard Times 3.
I've never seen her cut a promo. Is she any good?
I've seen her in NXT when they gave her a gimmick that wasn't quite right for her, and she felt a little awkward at that. But I've never seen her as Taya Valkyrie. I keep calling her Tara. Taya Valkyrie. I never seen her do it that way.
I saw her in Impact do some. Don't know that's the best place to watch anybody do anything. But I mean, she was all right. She's not blow away. It's not one of those people that just made you go, oh, wow. Oddly, she's a good interview. Like if she's being interviewed in a podcast or whatever. I've heard 2 or 3 of her interviews, and I thought those were rather good. As for the Billy thing, his ego is growing as big as the chip on his shoulder. I don't know. He said one thing right. I wish he'd go back to his idea that he wasn't going to be a character in the thing. But, hey, don't forget to get your FanDuel belt.
I've often thought this, but for an internationally famous musician who's been doing this for decades, he's surprisingly stiff in front of a camera, I find, or awkward maybe is a better word, from time to time. He doesn't come out as super charismatic and like commanding the stage, as it were.
No, not at all. He is not a talker.
Yeah.
As far as wrestling is concerned, he does not do a promo. He often comes across like he's trying to remember what he had tried to memorize, or that he had no idea what he was going to say when he went out there, and he's just doing it completely from the hip. He comes across one of those two extremes. Either I'm trying really hard to remember, or I don't know what I was going to say, so I'm just saying what I'm saying.
Well, EC3 is up after this interview. He is facing Deontay Marshall from Team Ambition. No, Rough and Ready, right? Rough and Tough. I don't know. It's one of the tag teams that has not impressed thus far.
Well, tag teams, it wasn't really a tag team that they put together for the U.S. Tag Team Tournament and are still calling a tag team, even though they don't wrestle in many tag team matches.
So I don't know the guy a lot, but I think he's local talent, and I think he is part of a regular tag team. But there you have it. Anyway, EC3 outmuscles Deontay pretty easily after some of his. Oh, look at this!
I know it's your favorite.
You're just going to cradle it for the
rest. If it'll stop us from talking about the match.
That's pretty nice. Where'd you get that?
Hmm?
Where'd you get that one from?
Some guy.
Just some guy. Some guy was peddling them door to door.
Honestly, I bought it off eBay. So I'm assuming it's probably a Packy, but I don't know. It's pretty solid, though, so it might not be.
Nice. Look, there's some intense EC3 brooding to start the match, as you would expect. He just gets beat stupid, this Deontay Marshall guy. He gets the EC3 hits the 1%er and locks in his the purpose. It's a 2.5 minute match. Afterwards, though, he heads to the podium, and Kyle Davis kind of just backs away because all of the Control Your Narrative guys who are, at least the members who are part of the NWA angle, are facing the screen, their backs to the camera. He makes some kind of different knocking noises, and they turn and they look at him. He does it again. They turn around completely. And it's kind of cool. But he says they're not invading. They're liberators to free the mind, the body, and the spirit of everyone in the NWA. Everyone in his group, he says, has overcome a personal demon to get where they are now and controlled their own narrative. And he speaks to Tom Latimer and says that, he knows who he can be, but he's going to have to go through a new level of hell to get there because he's not in control and he's currently not free. And of course, he's been warned. What's like that belt, DK? Jaden, what do you think of EC3?
I think he looks like a wrestler. I think he talks like a wrestler. I think he acts like a wrestler. I think he wrestles like a wrestler. I think he has personality, and I think he's a presence. And I think he's a good addition to the NWA, who really could use some more good additions. And I think leaving the rest of the Goon Squad maybe at home might be a good idea so he can concentrate on himself. But he got to spend a lot of money on that branding and that trademark and those T-shirts. So I guess he's got to get something out of his investment. Mm-hmm. But him and Latimer, I'm not a Latimer fan, but that could be a good matchup. Him against Murdoch, I think that could be something impressive. I think he's somebody right now that the NWA should be focusing on and using properly and putting in a proper position to build himself up to a championship match that people want to see. And I think he has a little chip on his shoulder himself. Now he could show everybody else what they missed and that they passed on and let him go, because now he's controlling his own destiny and possibly maybe can be a bright spot in the National Wrestling Alliance.
He actually did an interview. Honestly, don't remember if it was this one or last week, where he said his goal was to win the NWA World's Heavyweight title and drop it into a flaming garbage can. And
so he's going to dump it into the booking. Oh wait, that's a dumpster fire. I'm sorry, I got confused for a second.
Yeah. It was visceral, and for that particular interview at that moment in a Shane Douglas PTSD kind of way. But you're right. He looks, he sounds, he acts like a wrestler. Why? Before I ask DK, why don't you like Tom Latimer? Why aren't you a Latimer guy, Jaden?
I wasn't a fan when he was in Brahm. I wasn't a fan anyway. And then I know he had a lot of demons and stuff like that, but sometimes things just don't have an excuse.
Yeah, okay. That's fair. DK, what did you think of EC3 and his promo specifically?
I don't like this version of EC3, quite honestly. And I find, well, first of all, his control your narrative promo with his guys and his tapping on, knocking on the whatever that thing is, not really a podium, but I mean, that's almost like the opposite of control your narrative. It's him controlling them. He's got them trained like, dogs. Here, if I tap twice, turn and look over your left shoulder. If I tap, once or 3 times or whatever, then just turn to your right all the way around. Okay, that's not controlling your narrative. That's controlling a group of, quite honestly, that looks like enhancement talent. And there's not one of them that I look at and go, oh, that's a future star. And not that one of them can't be with the right, gimmick or whatever, but certainly not how they have them. None of them come across to me as being anything more than a group of goons that, you could get at any local indie guy, go to any local indie promotion and say, hey, pull me 5 of your biggest guys and we're going to do this. And then it also ranks with this. It's a problem that I have in wrestling a lot. But okay, so you have these 5 guys or 6 guys, and James H. Jackson, kind of like Raven, is flocking away. Yes, that would be. And I have actually heard the comparison to Raven before, but it's certainly not as good. But anyway, it's like, so now you got Latimer, and it's like, shouldn't we get Latimer at least 2 or 3 other people besides his wife? So
his wife could probably take the rest of them.
Probably, actually.
Jake Logan wasn't there, and I he's a control your narrative guy, and he's a former NWA national champion. So I don't know.
But anyway, my point is, seems like at some point you got to do something even out. It's a similar problem what I got going on in WWE right now. If anybody's following that with Judgment Day, but since Rhea Ripley's one of the people, and they ended her feud with Liv Morgan, so Liv Morgan could go be the SmackDown champion. It's like, okay, the guys won't hit her. And so outside of one thing with Beth Phoenix, there's not anything that, she always interferes and like nobody will do anything about it. So, I mean, at some point, either one of the guys needs to hit her, preferably with a chair, or, they need to get Beth Phoenix there on a more regular basis, or get somebody in, Raquel Gonzalez, somebody who would just make you go, all right, here's somebody that can be equalizer to her. It's like, I'm not interested in EC3 versus Tom Vladimir, where EC3 has 5 enhancement talent guys that are always going to be interfering or doing something. And I don't really want to see any of them in singles matches or tag team matches either. So the actual match itself was fine for what it was, for getting EC3 over.
Yeah, to your comment about like, well, isn't it the opposite of what he's preaching about everyone being in control of their own narrative, that he snaps the fingers or does a knock or whatever, and they do what he says, like almost a Pavlovian response, or maybe but he's running a cult, and then you'd kind of think that would be the case anyway. Like the cult leader would say, oh, you're all free now, but obviously be using this to control them. I don't know. I don't think Control Your Narrative is clear. And maybe it takes time because I only knew it peripherally, and I thought it was overall like distantly, if you step back, kind of a neat idea, but in practice has been less than stellar.
Yeah, I mean, when a lot of indie guys had no interest in working there, that tells you something.
Yeah. James says some of them are now controlling their wallet. He's back as Braun Strowman. Adam Scher, right, from that group.
Yeah.
All right, we're back to May Valentine, guys, and nothing against May, but
Everything against May.
this was a train wreck because it's
You
Aaron.
wish.
Yeah.
No, honestly. Part of her is not even legal. Only parts of her are not even 18 yet.
She's with Aaron Stevens, her on-screen boyfriend, and Casey Rocks, who's, I mean, he's Casey Rocks. He looks like he's 150 pounds, dripping wet, but and Rodney Mack, but Rodney as the question mark, or as someone called them on USA last week, the question Mac. Aaron announces that he has formed Black Glove Management. He tells Casey, his own guy, to go and do his laundry. Why is he even on camera with them right now? Go do the laundry. And he says to May, you've called Rodney Mack the wrong name. This isn't Rodney Mack. This is the question mark. The question mark is a Mongrovian, character, and there is no copyright laws there. Possession's 9/10 of the law. And, tell him. And Mac leans in and says, karate, into the microphone. And May's confused. It's the first time she's heard of this. Hopefully it's the last time we've heard of this. DK, what's your opinion? I missed last week's show for you guys, but about the question mark character being brought back at all, let alone for Rodney Mack.
I won't go off like I went off last week, but
I'll say something inappropriate later.
yeah, I mean, obviously it's extremely bad taste, really disgusting to do something like that. His BS of you can't prove it's not him, but he used it when Kronos first came out as his partner because we can't prove that wasn't question mark, and we can't prove that Rodney Mack's not question mark. I mean, the fact that it went from a white guy to a black guy apparently, isn't anything. So then they do the copyright thing. It's not copyright. It's Mongrovian, and they have different laws, and it's just all bullshit. And it's the type of stuff that does not add. And I've already accepted the fact that this is one of those things that you can't come back and go, well, we're gonna this didn't get the response we wanted, so we're gonna cut it. It's gonna last the season because that's the way they tape. And so I've already come to the understanding that there's I'm going to have to deal with this for the rest of the season. So I'm not going to bitch about it every single week. I don't care if Aaron Stevens is the manager. He takes some of the guys that can't talk. He's probably a good thing. He could probably make a good manager for him if he can get them over as opposed to himself. I will say May has gotten, both in USA and this show, she was kind of back more to her old character. And even here in dealing with Aaron Stevens, it wasn't the same way as she had in the past. although they didn't completely drop the gimmick, she was questioning him as far as like, what? Why are we doing this?
Yeah.
And everything. So hopefully they'll work that out of their system in a way that makes sense. Or a little bit at least.
Yeah.
Well, why they need to put a 50-year-old man who, has been in ECW, and I think he was even WWE or F or whatever for a short time, and everything, why they need to put him in a mask and just do this shit is beyond me.
Jaden, you've been involved in the business a long time, as I understand it, and there's often a narrative, no pun intended, in pro wrestling that nothing's off limits, right? We've seen stuff, like what immediately comes. Katie Vick comes to mind with Kane in the WWE or F, I don't remember which, but or whatever it might be. So Josephus, the guy behind the original mask, is gone. He's passed. And is this so, like, do you generally, is this something you would say if you were, and Dr. Zirconium were booking something like this? Is this something that you think can be embraced? Like, even if the spouse of the individual is on board. I don't know that that's the case, but I assume that it is. It was clear through whoever, right? Is it something that just because you can do it, you should?
This isn't paying homage to the question mark. This is kind of bastardizing it. So this shouldn't be done. I mean, all right, maybe Rodney Mack identifies as a question mark. I don't know. But it's stupid. The question mark was stupid. You're basically bastardizing something that was an abortion to begin with. So no, it shouldn't be done. There shouldn't be a Doink the Clown on the independent scenes right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't care if Phil Apollo and Dusty Wolf and other wrestlers have done it. It shouldn't be done now. So it's the same thing. There shouldn't be this question mark. There shouldn't have been the first question mark. There shouldn't have been who. There shouldn't have been the ding dongs. But it's just another long line of something that should have never happened. And this isn't professional wrestling. This is really, really, really bad sports entertainment. And that's not what the National Wrestling Alliance is supposed to be about. I think Sam Muchnick's rolling over in his grave right now. And unfortunately, hopefully by saying that, we don't bring out Sam Muchnick Jr. in the NWA.
Well, I think you make an excellent point with the bastardization versus an homage. If you were going to do it to pay an homage, that's something that, as a fan, if it were done correctly, we could maybe get behind if you were a fan of the original question mark. But I don't see that here, and I don't see the value in it either. And it's honestly just kind of a waste of everyone's time. In what arguably should have been the main event, it's Allison Kay versus Camille for the World Women's Championship. It's face versus face, so that's, that's no fun for me, especially. But there's test of strength after the lockup. Camille goes for the spear really early and hits the ring post. And AK locks in a Fujiwara armbar and works the shoulder, which is a large part of the story for this match. The experience of Allison seems to come across as why she's, in control here over this dominant champion. She's really in control for the first 5 or 6 minutes and really working the arm. Camille regains some control with, or gains it maybe for the first time with, power slam. She starts with the leg lariats and the strikes. She eats a pretty nasty looking bicycle kick, but kicks out. They trade pin attempts. The cat is here. Off you go, buddy. And there's a double takedown. And as they stand in the center of the ring, both of them exhausted, trading forearm shots back and forth. The bell rings. It is a 10-minute. The 10 minutes are up. It is a draw. Camille retains, and for the first time, does not have a decisive victory over her opponent. There is a show of respect handshake. Listen, for different reasons, I'll turn it over to you guys. This was a good match. I thought it was decent. What do you think, DKM?
Oh, yeah, it was a good match, and it was decent. I didn't know it was only going to be 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And I was very interested because going into it, I was a little bit surprised they did this match because I knew they weren't going to beat Camille, especially with the title on the line. And yet I knew that, I don't know if she'll end up winning the women's TV title, but I know Allison McKay's at least being Allison Kay is being built up for at least the tournament and being a top person in it and everything. And so I was a little curious as to how they were going to handle it. Now, I don't remember that they announced the time limit. So if they did, I totally missed it. So I was very surprised when it ended. And I've never gone back to watch and see whether it was a legitimate 10 minutes or not. I mean, her and Thunder Rosa went to a 20-minute draw.
Right.
And so it was just, you're putting on probably your best match of the show, and you're giving it 10 minutes, and it's a draw. And you know what they say about draw? It's like kissing your sister, or, that aunt that needs to shave. And, good match, left with a bad taste in my mouth. Why'd they even call it a world title match? I mean, they should have billed as a non-title match, and then at least you wouldn't have been surprised if the bell rang at 10 minutes.
Right. A 10-minute world title match. Dave says, I actually like the NWA having a few matches that end in a draw or no contest. Leaves the door open for another match down the line. I think it left Allison Kay looking strong, Jaden, for that women's TV title that I assume will be coming out shortly.
Well, based on the decision, I would have thought they were booking a rematch instead at the pay-per-view. Yeah. I think, honestly, Allison Kay didn't need to win, and I think this was just a coward's booking instead of doing what might be right. And first of all, 10 minutes, they're going to do a draw, do 20, do 25, do 30. 10 minutes, no, and that's why they didn't announce it, because if they would have announced it would have been a 10-minute time limit match, you would have known it would have went to a draw. But it's somebody with no confidence in their booking skills, and somebody who didn't need to win the match and could still win the TV title and still mean something. I just think it was just bad decisions all around, but that's kind of par for the course.
I have to put this one. Oh, go ahead, DK.
I was going to say, I don't mind time limit draws either. I mean, I do think they can be useful. My problem is the 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, at least 20. It should have been 20 minutes and build us non-title.
I have to tell you, what would Lou Thesz do is one of the funniest people I've never met. Good match, left a bad taste in my mouth. Sounds like a review of my last Tender date. But this is he's around our age. He's just baked enough to wish that Hudson, he's talking about Josephus, was pulling off a real Andy Kaufman and about to reveal himself. Otherwise, that shit sucks. If you know the Andy Kaufman story, anyway.
Yeah, he's not really going. I don't care what you say.
Yeah, good for you. I agree. Who was that character he used to play, and then somebody else? What's that?
Was it Taxi?
No.
I think he's talking about Tony Charles or
Tony something. Yeah. And he'd come out. Someone else ended up taking that character over, but that was part of it. Anyway. Well, after whether or not you like this match, have no fear because May Valentine is back. And this time she's with the Cardona family. All right, Kat, go up here, buddy.
Tony Clifton.
Tony Clifton, thank you. May says, Matt, you want to face Trevor at Hard Times 3, but how are you physically? And Matt says, well, I came back too early, but Trevor attacked me from behind with that top rope bulldog, and because he's afraid of me. May asks Mike Knox, are you done with Bully now that he's put you through a table? Can we, put this one to bed? Mike Knox actually kind of made me chuckle. He said, like, what are you talking about? I don't remember that happening. You're nuts. If I see Bully around here, I'm gonna do terrible things to Bully. VSK and Brian say a couple of things. They're here to save the NWA. They're here to help their best friend Matt. May finally ask Matt, are you comfortable managing all of your friends' careers here? And he says, they're not my friends, they're my family. And off they go with a very creepy ending where Mike Knox, the last one off the set, says to May, I'll be your friend. And she's like, no, thank you. I'm fine. They're all here but Chelsea Green. What did you think, DK? By the way, before you answer there, that match went 10 minutes, 5 seconds, was announced at the time, 10-minute time limit. James H. Jackson has done the math.
Yeah, well, I missed it if they announced it. This one, what you're talking about, Cardona family.
Yeah, do you care to talk about it? We can move on.
No, I was going to point out, so we have EC3, who's here to liberate the NWA, and Matt Cardona, who's here to save the NWA.
Somebody needs to do it.
Mike Knox, who nobody cares about in the NWA, and SBK and Cardona's best friend.
Did you say FDK? Is that?
I'm sure he's heard those initials many times.
STD and
STD.
Anyway.
I'm sure he's heard those letters too.
Not me, but anyway. I mean, it's like, don't you have somebody who should be wanting to challenge for the national title or TV title or something, and Mike Knox, even though I have no interest in him, I mean, shouldn't that be what he's now after, since they're out to save the NWA and take all its titles? Shouldn't the other two guys be interested in forming like a tag team and wanting to challenge for the tag team titles, either the U.S. or the world or something like that? And it was a stupid interview that said nothing. I didn't like it.
Nothing was accomplished here by this, and I can't imagine that surprises you, Jaden.
No, honestly, I kind of make my opinion obvious that TV time should be valuable, even if it's on internet TV or YouTube or wherever, whatever it's on. It should still be valuable, and instead, it's treated like something you get at Walmart.
An STD.
An STD, and an FDK too. It's just, there should be a reason for everything that's on television. And if the reason is just to fill time, then that's the wrong reason. And that's what this feels like, just to fill time. Just to put somebody with some name value on television.
But, we've had some of that time filled with May Valentine with Aaron Stevens and the question mark, May with the Cardona family. And so, of course, now we have May Valentine again after this segment.
She was a little overexposed this week, wasn't she?
She was. She usually gets 2 to 3 segments a week. I hate when, and they do this all the time. They go back to back, but she's got the OGK. She says, you've been in Impact, you've been in Ring of Honor. Why are you here? And Bennett
you've been in places that mean place. Why are you here?
You've been in places that matter to a lot of people. And they say, the NWA Gold has eluded them. They want those tag team titles right now. Bennett wants to get into the national title tournament and win the national title. Taven says they want to be world tag champs, and he wants to be a world champion again himself. I assume Matt Taven was a ROH world champion. Is that correct?
Yes.
By the way, worst haircut. Just number one worst haircut in wrestling.
Well, I don't know. When he held the ROH title, not only did they book him incredibly bad, but he just had a mohawk and he didn't look good at all. So I'll take this haircut over that mohawk he had.
All right, I'll take your word for it. Anyway, I think all we get out of this is that the OGK is going to be in the tag team scene, and one of them's going in the title tournament. But your main event of the night as we approach,
which I want to say,
I'm
sorry to interrupt you, but I want to say at least that's better than the Cardona thing.
Yeah,
it had a purpose. They were showing they want those championships, and those championships are important.
Right. So, right. I mean, this at least lined up with what you would expect out of a wrestling show. We want to be the tag team champions. He's in a tournament to be a national champion. I want to be a world champion again. I'm a former world welterweight champion and a former ROH champion, and that's what you want to hear. So at least this one made sense, and they've gotten goofy. Their characters are a little goofier than I like them. But
because I know your feelings you've expressed about working with other promotions. When they talk about Impact, they talk about ROH. Does that give you the same kind of feeling? Like that's something you're not a fan of? Or are you all right with that?
No, I'm okay with, like with Taya Valkyrie. They don't talk about her other titles, but like she wrestles in other promotions, holds titles in other promotions, and everything like that. And I don't have a problem with any of that. And as long as when she's in the NWA, what she's after is the NWA World Champion, and she's a top person, and it makes sense. And hey, let's be honest, more people know Matt Taven from his time in ROH and probably even his time in Impact.
Right.
And so saying, hey, here's a guy that was world champion in a promotion that a lot of you super indie people followed. Hey, that's a positive thing. I don't mind that. What I don't want is I don't want them going to MLW and going, okay, we're going to send our champion and we're going to feud between, the two promotions, and, we're going to put our title on 3 of your guys, and you're not going to put any of your titles on any of our, that type of thing.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan, say, on television where you have a promotion, but instead of going after that promotion's heavyweight or tag team championship, you're going after the AAA tag team titles, or the Ring of Honor Pure Championship, or the IWGP United States Championship. You should be going after again. You should be going after the only thing you should care about in that champion, in that in that promotion's those championships belts because that means more money for you. Anything else just makes you look like a belt mark.
Well, and I'll give you another good example. You know, there were a lot of people, NWA people, Impact people going, Dustin Rhodes, 53 years old. Dustin Rhodes should, you know, get a run with the NWA title. He should be the one challenging for the NWA title. You know, it's like, if you think Dustin Rhodes ought to be the world champ, tell him put the AEW world title on him. And that's the problem I have. See, people go, you're never going to put the AEW world title on Dustin Rhodes. So then don't say he should be coming here and winning the NWA championship.
Yeah. Don't talk about the pure championship, Jaden. You know what's going to happen now.
Well, it's going to show up on the NWA now.
It'll be the
NWA. They have an NWA Pure Championship.
Yeah, be a pure wrestling title in the NWA.
Just what we need, more belts.
It is.
There's so far about 3 or 4 wrestlers that aren't champions currently. We have to rectify that.
You know, there are rumors he's looking at bringing back other titles.
Well, yeah. Let's see what else is left. We need the Western States Heritage Championship now. Why don't he bring back the UWF title?
I understand he's still looking at the 6-man tag team titles. And then I've heard a rumor that he's looking at a Southern champion.
Well, you know what? Kenny Omega and the Bucks need something to go after now. So maybe they can go after the NWA. Oh, wait, they're 6-man, not trios. Never mind. They're not going to want them.
Very true.
The main event of the evening is
main event.
We lost Jaden.
Thought you kicked him off, but
it is not a mixed tag team championship or a non-binary title, but that's Dave is correct. That's a possibility for mixed tag. Boy, I would hate that. Go get a drink.
Might need to.
Yeah. So the main event of the evening, the reason we can gather why Taya versus Camille was not the main event was because it is Doug Williams taking on Flip Gordon. Both men are brought out to the ring by Nick Aldis, or so we're immediately told. He has a severe concussion, Aldis does, because of Odinson, who's been suspended from the NWA. So Doug, with the experience here, he out-wrestles Gordon with suplexes and various holds. And Gordon makes his comeback. Is this cool combo with a standing moonsault and a super kick follow-up. Put Jaden back in here. Jaden, we're just talking about the main event, which is Doug Williams versus Flip Gordon. So it's Williams with the experience with the suplexes and the holds, and the agility, the dexterity of Flip Gordon, the youth, and because you probably missed it, Nick Aldis came out to the ring with both men. He considers both of them friends, and he has a concussion because of Odinson. I get the sense in this, by the way, that there's going to be some kind of group or tag team formed here. Although Doug Williams is now hurt. Actually, James H. Jackson says that he's about to hang up the boots. We know he's out for September with a shoulder injury right now, but both of the guys, Flip Gordon has a U.S. flag on his tights, and Doug Williams has a British flag. It wasn't lost on me. I don't know if it was intentional, but it made me wonder if something's going to happen here, since they're both connected through all this. Williams is largely in control of the first half of this match. Gordon uses a middle rope drop kick to get back in, and into the match, and his tornado DDT is good. The STF is good. William breaks out of it. There's this kind of neat spot where I would say that Williams puts him in like a vertebraker position, and then runs backwards into the turnbuckle. So Flip hits it, chest first. He's caught off the top. It eats a tiger driver. There's a Death Valley driver in response from Flip to Williams in this, and it looked really great. Williams kicks out of a moonsault, but eats a springboard stunner. Flip Gordon covers Doug Williams, beats him clean, 3 count in the ring. Good match. At the end of it, Odinson charges out and takes out Flip Gordon with the silver Mad Max, Valhalla spray in the eyes, and Aldis gets in the ring, smacks him around, throws him out. DK, what did you think of the match and the ending?
Match was good.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed the match. The end of the match.
Yeah, what about the afterbirth?
The end of the match was good. The afterbirth.
Lazy booking. Yeah.
and let me tell you my problem with it. My problem is they said Odinson was suspended. And he comes running from the back in wrestling boots, elbow pad, knee pads, wrestling tights.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say that. That's right. He's not in street clothes.
Not in street clothes. Didn't come running from the audience area. He came running from the dressing room in wrestling gear, despite the fact that he's suspended, which led to unable to wrestle Nick Aldis jumping in the ring and punching him, and then Odinson bailing, which I'm not sure made a whole lot of sense. And do we know, was Aldis really injured or not, or was it storyline?
I think it's storyline. I haven't heard that he's hurt.
Okay. So it's just, yeah. The only good it does put Odinson into a story like this if Odison's going to get a rub off of it. And I don't know that Odison's going to get a rub off it, nor do I necessarily think he should with Nick Aldis. There are some other people there that he could go against and get a better thing. This matchup doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So
it makes perfect sense, and I'll explain why. Odinson's one of Aldis's boys. So Aldis is not doing anything important. So he's, I'm using air quotes, putting his guys over by allowing them to be in the ring with him and giving them television experience, even though he's beating them.
So you're calling it Triple H?
Or the Young Bucks, yeah.
Okay. Either works.
It's a political move because he wants to work with his guys and get them on television because he has good matches and there's guys, but he's not going to put them over to get them over as stars. And if he does put them over, he's not going to put them over. So obviously what he's just trying to do is just trying to, since he's got nothing else he's doing, put something in that he wants to do and work with his friends.
Maybe he should be thinking about hanging up his boots.
I had heard that there was a great, that the End was a pretty good tag team a couple of years ago.
Yeah, before POWERRR ate 3 people.
Right. Separate, and like I've never seen any of those matches, but separately, neither one of them impresses me. Odinson looks like a wrestler, as you said earlier. But every time I see him, It's uppercut, European uppercut after European uppercut after European. It doesn't stop. The whole match that he had against Tyrus for the TV title, that is the only move that he did in the match. And in this thing, even during the run-in, European uppercut, European up, like it's gotta stop. Like we know that he can't work the mic right now. He's young and he's doing this, presumably as a singles for the first time. And he's got to learn that, but someone's got to pull something out of Odinson. And
I don't remember who it was. It may have been one of you guys on the other Alliance guys. It may have been Jaden. If it was Jay, I'm not giving him any credit for it. But one of the people noticed.
Yeah, sorry, Willie was just saying, get rid of the national title, bring back the North American. I don't know.
They can use any title they want to just because it's another group's using it. Doesn't mean anything. But where was I going? Oh, yeah, somebody had said that Odinson needs to learn 3 more moves at least. They go so that he stops using just one.
Yeah.
And it's kind of true. And I seemed like he did more in the tag team matches, but sometimes it's like if you ever watch the Missing Link's career, if you go back to the early days when he was actually using his real hair before he shaved his head completely and glued on his.
Yeah, to the day that's still something that ruined wrestling for me, to see Missing Link gluing his hair on in the locker room.
But when he started as the Missing Link, it was actually his real hair. And you'll notice it goes from being like stringy to fluffy. And, but he got to the point where if you go watch the early things, you can watch a match between him and Ron Garvin. I mean, those two both could stretch people. But by the end of his career, all Missing Link did was headbutt people. That was it. He might occasionally slam them or occasionally kick them, but it was basically he headbutted people. And it was, at least I remember Odinson making some moves in tag team matches, but now, like as a single, he can throw himself like a dart and uppercut you, or he can uppercut you.
He can second rope diving uppercut you.
Yes, exactly.
Kind of like Bubba Gump with the shrimp. There's bullet uppercuts, slide uppercuts, uppercut fricassee.
You name it, he can do it with an uppercut. But I mean, he can't do like a double leg takedown.
Yeah.
Then again, most people in pro wrestling can't. But
Dave says he's still thinking like a tag wrestler. Just expand that move set.
Yeah, something. Just whoever said it, add 3. Add 3 more moves that are not European uppercuts.
You also got the Japanese uppercut and the Korean uppercut, the Irish uppercut, the lower cut.
It would be fun if they just did that, like had him do that bit from Forrest Gump with the uppercuts for like 2-3 shows all through segments, and then I think that's all the different kinds of uppercuts that there are.
Do not give them any bad ideas that they are likely to take.
Yeah, the man of 1,000 moves like Jericho back in the day, armbar, uppercut. That was it. That was Power. We did USA. We did Power. That was the end of the week. It ended look, at the afterbirth is the right thing to call that particular
mess.
Yeah, at the end, a good match that just got wrecked with a dumb ending. The finger poke of doom
and a nose boop.
So that's it, guys. You want to get out of here? Call it a night?
I wanted to do that before we started getting on the Power.
What was that, Jaden? Sorry?
I said I wanted to do that before we got onto USA and Power.
Yeah. Well, let's do that. Jaden, tell us once again what Dog is up to these days. What's coming up?
There's two events and a sister event coming up. We'll start off with Friday evening, September 30th, the Pause for the Cause. It's a free event outside. There will also be bouncy houses and pumpkin patches and old school Empire patches.
Wait, you're telling me there's going to be a wrestling event at a place that's got kids bouncy things?
It's far enough away that there won't be any other wrestlers. This isn't AEW. We're not going to be doing that stuff in the bouncy house.
No, I'm just going to be watching the kids do that stuff in the bouncy house and their parents scream. What are you doing?
I would put money in Patch getting in the bouncy house and the pumpkin patch and playing on the fire trucks. And knowing him, he'd probably try to get on the helicopter too. But
I put money on Dave Dahl going into a bouncy house and getting pinned.
Well, if he gets in a bouncy house, it'll be deflated.
Good point.
He is a human bouncy house. You jump on his belly and end up in space.
Took on big money recently, did he not?
Yeah, he took on big money. Yeah, the guy's like 4 times the size of him, which says a lot. That's like comparing Uranus to Saturn. However you want to use that one.
I'm going to put the link to your YouTube, Dog's YouTube page in the chat. But that was the first event, right? There's you got something else as well?
Yeah, our sister promotion, Frontier Wrestling Destiny, has their first event. It's Sam Haines Slam, or SOM, if you want to actually be pagan. But it's the Irish Halloween in Gloucester City, New Jersey. It's Saturday night, October 8th. And it will have a World Wrestling Grand Prix Championship match, whether it's Chris Steeler or not. But whoever gets out of the 30th will defend on the 8th of October. You'll also see Vinny the Fixer defend against Mr. Motion, a.k.a. Main Event Michael Mars. And that's going to be a great singles match out there. Patch is going to be in action. A lot of great wrestlers, and of course, Daredevil Dave Dahl will be there. And then on Saturday night, October 22nd, Dog returns to the Max Fit Sports Center. The match is currently scheduled. Will be a World Wrestling Grand Prix Championship match, the Dog Tag Team Championship match. You're going to see Eric Martin, assuming he's still champion. He will be defending against Nikos Rikos, and there'll be a career versus leaving dog, Ty Thomas versus Alpha Dog Adam Chandler. Somebody's going to be going from dog some way, whether it's their career or just moving away. But it's going to be 3 great matches already signed. You know, Dog is South Jersey's #1 wrestling promotion. It's actually professional wrestling. It is the promotion that Gary Michael Capetta put over on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Saw that.
Saying how much of a fan he likes the old school wrestling, and it's not just because of the old school Empire. You should come see us. It's not that far, Tim. You can drive down.
Honestly, I don't really have any interest in going to Hard Times 3. I committed to 75 next year, so I'd love to meet everybody down there. But this is not far from me. I just got to convince the missus. We're actually getting married Saturday, day after tomorrow. But to get down there and come with me. What's that?
Intentionally?
Yeah, intentionally. Yeah.
Was there a shotgun involved? Yeah.
I actually asked her, Dad, would you mind walking around with a shotgun? Because I think that'd be funny. No, we're just eloping and doing it really very quietly. But yeah, I'd love to just drive. It's not a long drive. I would love to come and see that show.
Yeah, come. Well, we don't run shows. Dog runs events. Everybody else runs shows. But
so well all night.
You can come, and then you can see the Dog, South Jersey's #1 wrestling promotion. Then you can spend your honeymoon in Atlantic City, and then you could go maybe get some Philly cheesesteaks and some Philly pretzels, because it's really the only thing worth in Philadelphia to actually do in Philly right now.
I've been to Philly a bunch of times, man. I'm an Eagles fan. Go Birds.
Oh, so you're used to disappointment. That's why you're a fan of the NWA.
Hey now.
What did I say? It was wrong.
look at this. This is, I got one of these back in the when they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, whoever booked that needs is as bad as the booker as Tony Khan and Billy Corgan. See, I don't like professional football. I like legitimate sports like professional wrestling, not predetermined ones like football.
All right. Calm down now.
All right.
But yeah, you can drive on down, get your honeymoon on, and come see the greatest wrestling promotion in all South Jersey, which is actually a lot because there's more to them than titles in the NWA.
Yeah, and great matches online. I put the link in there. It didn't go to Facebook for some reason, but we'll make sure it gets there. I saw Nikos Ricos, who I've never seen before this past week online in that I Quit match.
Yes.
With
Ty Thomas.
Ty Thomas, yeah. That was pretty good. It looks like a fun event, and I'd love to be there. You got a good sized crowd as well. So
yeah, it was a little short for us, honestly. I think the summer, and even though we were the only air conditioned building apparently in South Jersey that runs professional wrestling, but it was, I think, the summer, everybody was down the shore. But October is the Wrath of the Champions event. It usually packs the house really well. And with those 3 matches, I mean, everything there is worth seeing except for Daredevil Dave Dahl, but at least maybe he'll get his butt kicked this time.
Where can they find you on social media beyond the YouTube page?
I don't have social media. Only Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators does. Honestly, I wouldn't even have a cell phone if I didn't need it for business. I don't like to talk to people.
People don't like to talk to you, so it's an even, thing.
Apparently, that's not true. Everybody wants to get my attention, especially when I'm in the middle of class. 15 texts and 19 calls. Everybody has to apparently bother me while I'm trying to actually learn and improve my station.
Well, that's the key. They like to bother you. They don't actually want to talk to you.
Well, however they want to do it, they need to go away. But I don't really have any socials. Just make sure to check out everything Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators. If you want to get the links, go to dogprowrestling.com and all the links are there. And make sure you like, comment, and subscribe and share all our videos. If you haven't already, go through every single one of them, like, comment, subscribe, and share so people can see it. We try to get to 1,000 followers. If we get to 1,000 followers, I don't know, whatever you guys want. I'm not coming on this show for 2 weeks. Whatever you want to do to get to 1,000 followers, I'll do so. And then make sure you add us on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok and Twitch and Facebook and MySpace and live chat and
Bumble.
Tinder, swipe left, and what else is there out there? ControlYourNarrative.com. I don't care. Just get on everything.
DK, how about you, my friend? And where are they going to find you on social media?
Well, hopefully they won't. But
you're on Twitter. You talk about wrestling sometimes.
I actually talked about wrestling quite a bit recently on Twitter. I almost I enjoyed it. If you want to follow my wrestling views, and the best place to find me is Twitter at DKMFWTX. You can probably find me in most other social medias with that, but I do almost no wrestling on them.
And if you want to know about what's going on with the royal family right now, DK is kind of an expert. He could probably tell you where to go to find out more information about the comings on in the royal family and the formerly known as the Queen.
That is true. You can go to unofficialroyalty.com.
Someday when we're not at the 2 minute and 19 or 2 hour and 19 minute mark, I'm going to ask you how a guy from Texas gets so heavily involved with the British monarchy as
because he's a royal pain in the butt. That's why.
And on that note, tune in on Tuesdays, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific for the hottest hour before Power, the pre-party with J. Cal, as he will spend that hour talking about the next upcoming Power and anything
the Power Hour.
Yeah. What does this say? Oh, this is the bell. Yeah, there you go. See? Yeah, see? Eagles fans everywhere. Yeah, I don't know about that. Listen, thanks everyone for being here. Thanks, guys. I had a good time filling in for Jay. Thanks for having me. And if I can figure this thing out, until next time, we'll see you at the matches.
Thanks for joining the stream. This has been a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. We genuinely appreciate your support. Would you consider subscribing so you'll never miss a future episode? I'd also like to remind you we do a live stream every Tuesday at 5 p.m. before NWA Power. You can find us on social media at The Alliance Blog. And until next time, we are The Alliance.